I'm Elisa, and today we are talking about all of the money that I spent in April and May. So May really got away from me, and I never did my April money recap, so we are just combining them today, and I'm going to go over everything that I saved, how much I spent on what, how much debt I paid off. Let's jump in. So according to my spreadsheet, in the month of April, I made $6,753. A good portion of that were my two paychecks of $2,276. I made $153 from my FSA, so I just got reimbursed, but I put it in there. I made about $13 on Mercari, $57 on Poshmark, $17 on Depop, $30 on Facebook, and 60 cents on Pango. I also cashed in some savings bonds that were about $1,750, so that's where a huge portion of that came from. Looking at categories on my savings goals, I put $1,850 into my sinking fund because I have a wedding sinking fund, and then I had $100 into my emergency fund. For debt, I paid $3,181 in debt payments, the majority of that going toward my personal loan at $1,787. I put $100 toward my Capital One credit card and $1,294 toward my student loan. I spent $997 on needs. This was $400 on rent, $168 in car insurance, $41 on gas, $111 on groceries, $212 in medical, $50 on my cat, and $5 in fees. And then I spent $1,061 on wants, which breaks down to $16 in subscriptions, $82 on books, $74 on random food, $76 on clothes, we'll get to it, $11 on gifts, $197 on experiences, and $606 on my wedding. So that breaks down with most of my money going toward my sinking funds, about 25%, and then about 24% going toward my personal loan, and then 17% going toward my student loan. Looking at my spending log, my book spending in April were my Aardvark and my Book of the Month subscriptions. I got something removed, a mole on my back removed by the dermatologist in February or March, and I didn't see a bill for it until April, so I paid $111 toward that. I paid $2 for the New York Times Games app. I bought $30 of Chick-fil-A for me and my fiance. I spent $11 on a Kindle ebook that I sent to my friend Sydney because it was about an Amish woman turned stripper or something like that, and it's based off of a real girl, and she's really into the Amish. Like, she just really likes reading Amish romances and stuff, so I was like, I think she'd like this. Groceries, rent. I spent $12 on my Apple Music subscription, $19 on cat food, more groceries, more personal loan. I spent $22 at Crumbl. I have been craving Crumbl lately. I've gotten it twice in the last 2 months, which I shouldn't be doing because I'm not supposed to be eating gluten, and I'm supposed to be like watching what I eat and my money, so I don't know. Chiropractor. I spent $7 on a template to ask my bridesmaids to be my bridesmaids. I spent $316 on bracelets for the bridesmaids proposal boxes that I made, and before you tell me, I know that is not necessary. I completely understand that. I just love giving gifts. It's definitely one of, if not my main love language, so any excuse to give gifts, I do it. And yeah, I had money in my wedding fund, so I put it there. Therapy. I bought more dress swatches, which we've covered. I don't technically need. However, I think I am once again changing what I want, mostly because of tariffs. the original plan I had ended up being highly affected by tariffs, and it would have made each dress like $250, and I'm not asking anybody to do that. And that's even like steep if I choose to like buy them the dresses. Like, I don't want to spend that much money. So we are going back to the drawing board, and I am finding a new plan, a cheaper plan. I spent $30 at my local cat cafe, which I had never been to. Me and Sydney went, and it was so cute and fun, and just, it was so much fun. I spent $20 on McDonald's because I was hungover. I gotta be honest, me and Sydney went bar hopping, and yeah, McDonald's is like my main hangover craving. So $76 on clothes. I bought an Abercrombie and Fitch dress. Actually, I should take this off because I returned that dress. Haha. I spent $130 at Sephora, and this was for my bridesmaid proposal boxes. Yet again, I bought the little fragrance sets that they have where you can try out a bunch of perfume and then you get a travel size of whichever one you like. So I put those in the boxes. So I spent $167 from Travel and Experiences for my part of the pool membership. We pay to be able to use the pool. The pool is still not open because it hasn't passed inspection because it's having a lot of drainage issues. But I am a pool member. I just can't go yet. Nobody can go yet. I spent $31 on litter and churu for my cat. $5 fee was, I had done a Chase pay over time for the Jonas Brothers tickets, but then ended up paying them off quickly anyway, but I still had to pay the fee, so $5. $30 on therapy. I spent $144 on one more bridesmaid bracelet because they had been out of stock of her birthstone, and then I got myself one to wear on my wedding day that I just knocked out because I had coupons. And then at the very end of the month, I spent $2 to get a Pop-Tart out of my work's vending machine, and I have to be honest, I don't know what has come over me in the last 2 months that I feel that I can now purchase from the vending machines at work. I had like literally never done that. I think the last time I done it had probably been like a year and a half ago. And then all of a sudden I was like really craving chocolate and I was hungry and I don't even know what was going on, but I wanted junk food. So I went and spent $2 on a Pop-Tart. And it gets worse. So then moving into May, May was an interesting month for both income and spending. Made my 2 paychecks of $2,276, reimbursed $60 from my FSA, $40 from watching my aunt's cats, about $39 from Poshmark, $6 from Depop, $253 from selling on Facebook Marketplace, $4 from selling books on Pango. We had a yard sale in May, which was super fun. We did like part of the community yard sale and we made $102. I made about $27 just selling books to like the random companies like online. I think it was like World of Books. And then I restarted my second job of substituting at my local library and I made $73 from that. So I made $5,251 in the month of May. So for my savings goals, I didn't put anything in my sinking funds this month, and that is because of the extra spending I had done in April and May. I ended up just immediately putting it toward my credit card. I do have like clothing sinking funds and beauty sinking funds, so I kind of just counted them as that. So I just took the $200 that would have gone in there and I just put it at my credit card. I put $100 into my emergency fund and $200 in my wedding fund. For debt, $50 to my Capital One credit card, $1,294 to my student loan, and $1,652 toward my personal loan, which means I spent $2,997 toward debt. My needs, $400 rent, $168 car insurance, $37 on gas, $174 on groceries, $101 in medical, and $26 on my cat. And then in wants, $16 on subscriptions, $109 on books, which I broke a rule this month. I broke a couple rules this month. $84 on food, $170 on clothes, because that dress I returned, I got in a different size. $297 on beauty. We'll get to it. $14 on miscellaneous, $126 on gifts, $37 on home, and $107 on my wedding. So my largest categories were 32% of my money went toward my personal loan. Well, at least money spent. 25% went toward my student loan, and then the next was 7% went toward my rent. Looking at my spending log, normal book subscriptions, iCloud, bought some groceries. I needed deodorant and razors, and we needed more hangers. So it was a little bit more of an expensive grocery month. I ordered from Amazon for the first time in months. I got B12 and stickers for the yard sale so that I could price things. And that was 14 bucks. I spent $2 at Chick-fil-A because I had points. But I also spent $7 at Starbucks that day because I had a pickup order at Target, and it popped up that was like, hey, do you want to get a Starbucks drink with your order? And I was like, okay. And then I got Chick-fil-A. It was all that, yeah, okay. $12 on Apple Music, $41 for my blood work. My FSA reimbursed this, $23 on groceries, $10 at Starbucks, $37 on groceries, $3 to New York Times, $44 on groceries, $26 on cat food. Okay, so $289 to get my hair highlighted and cut. I had not gone and gotten my hair done since November, and I knew I had engagement photos coming up in the near future, and I was like, okay, I just, you know, I don't want to have crazy roots. I just want to be properly blonde, as I call it. And the place I normally go, I just kind of wanted to try something new. Usually the place I go, she does cap highlights, and I wanted to try foil highlights. So that's actually with a 20% off coupon is how expensive that is. It's about probably double of what I'd normally spend. And yeah, it was fine. I have an appointment to get my roots touched up in a few weeks, but I think I might cancel that because I'm just not all that fussed, to be honest. I think like me being outside lightens my hair anyway, and like my engagement photos will be done, and the wedding I'm going to will have already happened. So I'm gonna save some money and not get my roots touched up, and I'll probably try like a different place toward the end of the year and get a whole head again, but we'll see. I spent $95 for Olakai flip-flops for my mom's Mother's Day gift. And then I bought 2 dresses for $85 each from Abercrombie. I wanted a new dress for my engagement photos, and yeah, I ended up with 2, which, you know, was not the plan, but I got a midi dress and then a shorter dress, and both of them are super versatile, which I really like. I had 2 dresses last summer that I wore like crazy. However, they're like bright orange and hot pink, and I felt like I couldn't re-wear them because they were so memorable. I'm trying to break the habit. But I think I've found very good reusable pieces in these 2 dresses, and I'm actually pretty happy. Like, I know I had the rule that I didn't want to spend money on clothes this year, but I am pretty happy with the fact that I did not go crazy and order like, you know, tops and jeans and everything from Abercrombie. I didn't go crazy and buy a bunch of bathing suits again. I stuck to the dresses, which is what I wanted. So I am super happy with those, and I will show you those in the like haul declutter video coming up. $2 more on the vending machine at work, and then another $2 on the vending machine at work, $30 on therapy. And then, so I had bought my mom the flip-flops, and then I saw her and she was like, hey, if you don't have a Mother's Day gift for me, I would love like the Kapari body spray. So I went to Ulta and I picked that one up for $31. I bought more swatches, as I said, because I'm still figuring out what I'm doing, for $6. $32 on donuts that I brought to my mom and my fiance's mom on Mother's Day. $2 at the vending machine at work. I'm so annoyed at myself. I spent $16 on some supplies to do the bridesmaid proposal boxes. $37 on Bath & Body Works wallflowers and body wash because I ran out of both. $2 more at the vending machine at work. This annoyed me. I spent $10 to get my little proposal cards printed at Walmart, and they cut them super crooked, and it pissed me off really, really bad. And so those were just a complete waste. So now I have them and they're like mine, and I just printed mine at home and they worked out a lot better, and I'm annoyed. $8 on new nail glue because my the lid on mine sealed itself shut. I mean, it's very old. It was a very old product, and I was definitely coming down to the end. But yeah, it's sealed shut, so I needed a new one. $72 from the wedding fund for my wedding was spent on a card box for my wedding, which I'm very excited about. It's Taylor Swift coded, and I love it. I spent $25 at Crumbl. I really wanted the Crumbl cookie lineup from a couple weeks ago. It was the one that had like the Oreo, and I love the semi-sweet chocolate, and I just really wanted Crumbl a couple weeks ago, and then like every day I said I was gonna get it, and every day I didn't, and I was like, all right. I worked my second job at the library one day, and I was like, all right, you're gonna go from work, like your main job, and then you're gonna immediately go and work 3 hours at the library, and then you can get Crumbl. So that is what I did, and that's how I kicked off my Memorial Day weekend. $30 on therapy. And then my book spending was higher because of I paid for my book of the month subscription for June in May. So next month it will be lower, but that is what happened. And let's just look at my 2025 goals. So I'm on track with most of my categories. I have $632 left in my ideal food budget. I have $260 left in my clothes budget. I am, however, over on my beauty budget because I did not, when I made this budget, I was under the impression I was not going to get my hair done at all because I was not engaged at that point, and I did not know I was going to have to take pictures. So I think I'm going to have to move some money around, or just see how far over budget I go. I don't know. I mean, these were just ideal budgets. They weren't like hard and fast, so I'm not super worried. On track with books and gifts, and pretty much everything else is still looking good. I have not bought a single ebook this year, which is amazing. At the end of March, my Capital One had $4,675. It now has $4,525. My personal loan at the end of March was $9,070, and it is now $5,710. Well, at the end of May, $5,710. And so those are the two things I have left to pay. So at the beginning of the year, for the 4 things that I wanted to pay off, 2 of which are paid off, I wanted to put I wanted to pay off $20,432 worth of debt. There was $13,745 of that left in March. And now there is $10,235 left, which means we're about halfway done. And that's incredible. So I'm feeling very good, very motivated. As far as my student loan, it was $143,909 at the end of March. It is now $142,809. And my federal loan has not changed, which means my total debt at the end of March was $193,882, and it is now $189,372. So, feeling good about all of it. I believe I should have my personal loan paid about halfway through August, and then my Capital One card should be paid off the beginning of November, and then I'm done with consumer debt, and all I have is my student loans, which is a good feeling. And obviously I mentioned that I've been using my credit card. I I've been trying to do like disciplined credit card usage. I pay it off in full, or I just, you know, pay it off as I use it, honestly. You know, it got tricky there for a second when I was shopping, but I reined myself back in and I paid them, and I didn't let myself just be like, oh, it's fine, I'll pay it next paycheck. I was like I had a plan. It was, hey, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna take the money from your sinking fund and you're gonna immediately put it on your credit card to pay off that dress. And yeah, it feels good to be able to use them and know that I'm gonna pay them. I'm using one of them. But yeah, no, obviously a little rocky with the beauty spending and the clothes spending, but I didn't go overboard, and that's what I'm really, really happy about. My mom did take me shopping for work clothes because that's just, my mom's a lovely human. So I'm going to show you what I got for work in my probably next video. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know how your debt payoff journey or your savings journey is going this year. I know so many of us had really big financial goals for 2025, and I would love to know how those are going. We are almost at the halfway mark of the year, which is crazy, and I would just love to know how your goals are going. But thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all the normal stuff, and I'll see you guys again really soon. Bye.